What are some other things that you've seen so far in merch in November, merch by Amazon? What other trends or things can we talk about here as we go into what might be the biggest month of the year, right? December may be the biggest month of the year for merch by Amazon so far.
Oh, it should be. Yeah, definitely. But well, one big thing that happened this month is the new policy of removal of T-shirts
Oh, yeah,
if they've not been sold for 60 days.
right.
So that happened on November 15th, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe we did a video,
Yep,
a whole thing on that.
we did.
But that's been interesting, and I can't really recall exactly what I said I was gonna do. At that time, I think what I said was I was going to repost as many as I could once they got taken down.
Right.
And that definitely was my plan, so I'm pretty sure that's what I said. But what's ended up happening with that is that it's became a lot more difficult than I thought to actually track down. Well, the way I have my designs is I have my designs categorized numerically.
Oh, good.
Which is good. It makes it easier than I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people, and I know my first 1,000 designs were not categorized numerically. So I actually took about 3 days last week categorizing them finally and putting all the information
Wow.
in a spreadsheet, and that was a headache. But I got that done. So, but now at this point, I have all these empty slots, but I have all these designs that were deleted. But when I look through, it's not. It just isn't mathematically smart, mathematically sensible to go back and post them. Seeing that I do pay my future brother-in-law to do it, and it overall it would just be a large amount of money. I would have to sell a large amount of those shirts, so I ended up not doing that,
Hmm.
even though that was my intentions. But what's another thing that's interesting that's happened is I've actually had shirts selling that were supposed to have been deleted, that were deleted off of my dashboard. So I think what happened is that Amazon actually deleted them off the dashboard, but they didn't delete them off the site, some of them. And so with the ones that weren't deleted off the site yet, I don't know if maybe a server hadn't updated or what, but they sold before they got a chance to be deleted. So then they showed
They
up and
stayed.
sold. And so I think that actually brings them back to life, I guess you could say. So,
Right.
so I've had some do that, not a lot, but that just sort of reinforces my belief that maybe I've chosen the right thing by not getting them reposted. So what I've been doing actually is I've been getting more designs, trying to get them posted up. My future brother-in-law was actually gonna become my brother-in-law after a year of saying that this week or this upcoming week. So they're going to be going on the honeymoon.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm actually not going to get any designs posted from about the week before Christmas into the middle of the first week in January. So I'm going
Wait,
to
wait,
have
wait, wait. Doesn't he know it's fourth quarter? What is he doing
yeah,
having a honeymoon and a
yeah,
wedding?
yeah. Well, it's okay. I'm just going to spend that time. I'm going to spend that time getting more designs in the queue, and then I'm have a lot to throw at them in January.
You're gonna crack the whip.
Yeah, yeah, but that'll be so basically I'm going to take a brief or a brief posting hiatus during that time, but before that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him to post as many as I can. I already have a few hundred for him to do,
Hmm.
and so we're going to get up as many as we can before then. But what I think I'm going to do moving forward with the new 60-day policy is just let them get deleted and post more. I actually have a stretch goal of creating 40,000 new designs
Wow.
by the end of next year. I've created about 10,000 this year. But the reason that is simply the math. If you look at it with the numbers we just looked at there, if 10% of the designs I create, and say I can't bring that number up, say I'm stuck at 10%, which that's not terrible. If 10% of the designs I sell are going to account for 80% of my sales, then if I create 40,000 designs by the end of next year, then the ones that won't sell will be deleted, but then there's going to be some that's going to catch. It's sort of going to be like for every wave I post, some are just going to fall by the wayside, but some are going to catch. And then some on the next wave are going to catch. So then by next year, hopefully at this time, especially if I get tiered up, maybe I can have an account with, instead of having 580 shirts that have sold really well, which I should say that since November I had an average of 6,000. But in reality, I have about 10,000 designs in total. There was about 4,000, 3 to 4,000 that got deleted. So I guess technically, if you look at it, 580 shirts that sold that accounted for 80% of my sales was, in all actuality, that would be 5.8% of my design arsenal total. So if I can have 40,000 designs created by the end of next year, at this time next year, then instead of having 580 that accounts for 80% of my sales, then I can have 2,500. And
Right.
so that means a five-fold increase in sales, hopefully. So
Yeah.
even if 30,000 of those get deleted, that's still my goal, is to have 40,000 more created. So
Wow, that's amazing. You know, here's another way to look at the removals too, though, because I agreed with you that I was going to repost my designs when they were removed, and a bunch of them were removed. I think I had something like 485 up because I'm still at the 500 tier, and I got down to 250 after they removed a bunch, and I don't really have that much of a choice. I don't have time to let's say create a whole batch of new ones, but I actually really believed in the designs that I had up. I just felt like because of where I'm at right now, uh, I'm fairly new to uploading those 250 that got removed. I thought, well, they didn't get enough chance to sell, you know. So I've noticed that since uploading those, many of them have sold. Many of these newer, I'm going to call them newer designs, have sold, even though they got deleted by Amazon once. I'm seeing these newer designs selling. So sometimes it may have to do with the seasonality. Sometimes it might have to do, but I figured for November, December, this was my quickest way to have all my slots filled, or as many of them as possible filled, was just to re-upload the ones I really believed in. I think I probably didn't upload 25 of them or so, where I thought, okay, that's just too cheesy or too, you know, even though who knows, they might end up selling, but I was a little bit more careful with the filtering of the designs that I re-uploaded, and then I dropped the price on them too to $19.95. I usually price my designs at $22.95, and on the new upload, number one, I filtered more carefully, and then I priced them at $19.95, priced them a little lower, and I'm starting to see them selling. But the main thing I didn't want to do was just go into November, December with only 250 designs.
yeah,
So that's why I uploaded most of them,
yeah.
re-uploaded most of them again. But I still see designs that haven't sold selling, you know, coming in and selling once in a while. And I was like, all right, it's not, I don't think it's a total waste. If you believed enough in the design in the first place, then why not re-upload it and, you know, maybe at a lower price, but re-upload it and give it another shot.
And I completely, wholeheartedly agree with you. For anybody who can do that to the point where it doesn't bog them down, it's
Right.
just, in my case, it sort of bogs the process down a
Yeah.
lot, because you gotta say I have a design in the midst of 50 that didn't sell, then I have to go find that design in the batch, and then bring it over, and then send it over to my future brother-in-law, let him know that this is it, go find it, number this on the sheet and all that. And so it sort of bogs down my process. But
Yeah.
I think definitely for you and for most other people who does it themselves, I absolutely still think that's the way to go 100%.
Yeah. So it's always important, just to kind of cap this segment here, it's always important to look at where we are individually in this process. Because I mean, look at Daniel. He's at the incredible level, 26,000 in 1 month. His designs, his system, his whole process is more like a well-oiled machine, and he's got to keep that machine going and pumping and keep it going at a good speed. Where a strategy that works for me at the 500 tier level works really well because it's a manageable number of designs, may not work as well for Daniel, and vice versa. So always keep that in mind. This is kind of a little advice for everybody out there. Always keep that in mind, that you know, we need to apply these strategies to how they work at our particular level in the business too. So
That's fantastic, and I love that we can have that dynamic there, where we can sort of make sure that we're remembering that
yeah,
throughout the
we're
process.
covering all the bases.
Yeah, there you go. So Yeah, that's and so November was a big month with that policy change as well. It's going to be interesting to see what other policy changes may come our way soon.
Yeah, I would love to have some kind of a tool, that, because I don't think Merch does a very good job of this. I would like to have some kind of a tool that actually shows us which ones have been removed and not re-uploaded.
Yeah.
That'd be really helpful. Maybe there's a Chrome extension somebody out there will put together for us.
That's actually, that's another thing I hadn't thought about. That would make the process even more difficult because you would actually have to, for me, because I would actually have to go through and identify all of the ones that weren't. I would have to keep track of that separately, like on a sheet. So that's another thing I hadn't thought about. That's a great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this next batch. I'm going to have to probably grab a list, probably do what you did, is go to the Manage tab and then copy that whole section of, let's say, removed, put it into a spreadsheet, and then compare it to another. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
But,
they make it a little difficult. It would be really nice if they just had a button where you could just click relist.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
sort of defeating their purpose, I think.